Hello, welcome back to Too Many Books. My name is Sean, and today we have a Centipede Press unboxing. This, my friends, is Heretics of Dune. Frank Herbert, volume number 5, not 3. Oh my god. 3 was Children of Dune. That was last year. Volume number 5 of the original 6 Dune novels written by Frank Herbert. And the penultimate volume from Centipede Press, featuring Ruth Sanderson's incredible artwork on the capped slipcase here, which is very, similar to her illustrations on the previous capped slipcases. I mean, obviously, it's not similar in that it's the same artwork, but she has done the artwork for all of the volumes thus far. And once you get inside, nice little marbled cap there. We're going to first see our artwork by McGrath. McGrath being the artist for this volume. Pardon the reflection there from the Mylar. These ones are not double-sided, right? It is not double-sided, no. McGrath has done, I think, like 11 illustrations here. So let's dive in. It's been a good year for Centipede Press and Dune. It's been a hectic year for Centipede Press and Dune. Ever since the first volume was published by Centipede Press a few years ago, he's been playing some serious catch-up. This has been a project he's been working on for some time, he being Jared from Centipede Press. And this is the last year that he has rights to the series. Why is there like a overlay or something there? Is that a printing error? You're seeing that on the camera, right? It almost looks like film stock in a way. Going across the top there. It's almost a little faded. Yeah, I'm not sure what's up with that. Not sure if that's a printing error or what. But anyways, this year alone, he has published God Emperor, Volume 4, Heretics, Volume 5, and he is supposed to, by the end of the year, have published Chapter House with Volume 6, which, he has to, or else he loses the rights to it, and it'd be a shame to only have 5 of the 6 volumes. But anyways, we have an introduction here by Nancy Kress, science fiction author extraordinaire. There's been a different introduction for every volume thus far. Much like one can expect with Centipede Press, you are going to have your archival artwork featured throughout it. That's a very interesting looking sandworm on the left there. And then there's an afterword. Okay, I can't remember if it was another forward or an afterword. I know it just said on the table of contents earlier, but that was a whole 30 seconds ago. That's way out of my head. There's Shiana, who is going to be the new chosen one, if you will. Featuring, and these are not the these are illustrated by McGrath. When I say, there's 12 full-page illustrations, these are not them. There are going to be further illustrations within the novel proper. Each of the volumes thus far have had a new introduction by a different author. Or, authors sometimes. Sometimes they have multiple pieces, whether it be a new introduction or an additional forward by Brian Herbert. Like I said, full color plates by McGrath here. And you can see even how long he's working on it. This is dated 2022 with his signature there. So he's had this artwork done for a couple years now. This has been a chore, a slog, I'm sure, for Jared at Centipede Press. It's been a hell of a this one 2025, so he's been working on it for some years too. There's a piece that was completed this year. I know Jared will be very grateful once 2023. How about that? We're getting all the years covered in this artwork. I'm sure Jared will be incredibly grateful once he is done with Chapter House Dune. Once that is out in the wild, and he can take a big old sigh of relief, hopefully take a vacation, because this Dune saga has quite literally been a saga. He's been working on it for, I think, close to a decade now. It's been a labor of love, but well-deserved vacation if he takes one, because this is just absolutely incredible. got to be careful with that top edge stain. I had sustained a little bit of damage to my Frankenstein that had the top edge stain. And unfortunately, a couple of the pages even tore because of it. So be a little careful flipping through that. And, oh, I like the colors on this one by Chris McGrath, which is from 2024. He's been working diligently on this. I'm liking the colors on that, the blues. It's almost reminiscent of the color palette he's been using for his Butcher, his Dresden Files illustrations that he's been doing for Grim Press. So yes, if you're thinking, oh, this author looks familiar, this artist looks familiar, you may have seen his work. I'm pretty sure McGrath is the one that does the trade releases for Dresden Files nowadays too, featuring, you know, Dresden with a hat, even though he's never worn a hat. But he's also doing the artwork for the Grim Oak versions. Now, Jared is stopping with the original 6 Frank Herbert titles. He hasn't mentioned any plans of going beyond that into the Brian Herbert sphere, which is fine, because I know there are a lot of collectors out there who are not fans of the Brian Herbert sphere. Personally, I've only ever read the House trilogy that Brian Herbert did with Kevin J. Anderson. And I'm not going to lie, I actually enjoyed the House trilogy. I mean, no, it's not the same as Brian Herbert's works, but it was still good. It was still very fun, but it's more like popcorn reading. The novel itself here, I should probably talk about that, 7 minutes into this, takes place 1,500 years after the events of God Emperor. Arrakis is now Arrakis. It is going back to its original Dune starting point. The deserts have sprung back up, and there is still plotting over the fate of Arrakis, over the fate of the planet itself, of Dune. Here's an afterword of Brian Herbert featuring, in this photographs of Frank Herbert, taken by Patty Perrette at Herbert's home in 1984. So there's several photos of Frank there as well. This one is not as widely regarded. Oh, this is an older afterword by Brian Herbert. Not as widely regarded as some of the other Dune novels, but it's still a solid read. This is limited to 500 numbered copies. This is number 68. It is obviously a facsimile signature from Frank Herbert, who had passed back in 86, signed by Nancy Kress and Chris McGrath. No signature by Brian Herbert, who I believe Brian only signed the very first volume, the original Dune. But if you did want some of the Brian Herbert titles, I mentioned Grim Oak Press doing the Chris McGrath artwork for the Dresden Files, but they're also doing the House trilogy by Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson. So if you did want, I'm still not really sure what's going on with the artwork here. Did you also pick this up? Does your artwork on your end sheet look the same way, with almost like I said, like a printing error of sorts, which is a bummer, but definitely a bummer. But I don't know if maybe I'm unique in this aspect or if this is a ongoing problem. But anyways, if you did want the House trilogy, you can go pick it up at Grim Oak Press. And I would urge you to do so, because I don't know how many that's going to be limited to. It has not sold well at all. And, but anyways, I don't think I'm going to pick that up, at least not originally. So I don't know that I'll have an unboxing video for it. If I can get it for a cheaper price down the road, perhaps I might go for it. But anyways, these titles, much like every other Dune title that Centipede Press has done, is completely sold out, or will sell out soon. I don't think there are any open for the public sale just yet. So you have to go to the secondary market. And you'd probably be better off, at this point, finding a complete set of all 5, or what will be all 6 when Chapter House publishes. Probably the easiest way to go, instead of, picking up this one and then trying to piecemeal the backlog of the other titles. But man, it is going to look great with all 6 of these side by side. Definitely worth, definitely almost like a magnum opus project that Centipede has done. And that's saying something, because they have made quite a few beautiful books over the years. I'm sure it doesn't really hold up to the deluxe version of Ghost Story of Peter Straub, but for me, this is going to be just, whew, remarkable. All 6 of them side by side. But anyways, thank you very much for watching. Please consider subscribing to the channel here. I do at least 1 book review a week with plenty of other unboxing videos between here and there, including a whole bunch of other Centipede Press titles. It has its own playlist below. And I will do a Chapter House Dune unboxing once that does eventually ship. I don't know if it necessarily needs to ship by the end of the year or if it just needs to be sold by the end of the year and then it could ship next year. So I don't know if it'll be necessarily this year as we're winding down in the months. But definitely something worth checking out. But thank you again very much for watching. Check out Centipede Press. Check out Frank Herbert's Dune series, especially those original 6. And we'll see you around next time.